6:15 on ABC Radio Hobart. The Job Summit has wound up in Canberra. Lots of talk about, so much stuff. And someone who wants to talk more about it is Simon Bailey, who's the Australian Union or TAFE president. I should point out, I'll give you a whole long title if I'm not careful. Hi, Simon. You heard the conversation today and wanted to comment?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, definitely intrigued and interested, and there's a lot of points that need to be followed up. The main point: who's going to deliver the courses? We've got a huge skill shortage going on in the industry, and that's impacting the ability to attract people into the TAFE system who have the skills and knowledge to deliver the courses.
Yeah, well, that's a really major point, isn't it? And the Education Union, Simon, obviously, wants to be able to have the ability to put this in place.
Yeah, that's right. And like the TAFE management are aware that there's issues around the employment of new people into the TAFE system, and that's from that's teachers, support staff, management. You need everyone to be able to actually offer the courses, and unless there's some foresight put into this area, we won't be able to deliver the courses because we won't have the teachers. We don't have the teachers now in Tasmania to deliver our courses. And so we've got a bit of a domino effect where there's a low unemployment rate, there's a huge skill shortage, and that's impacting our ability to be able to attract people into the TAFE system because the wages being offered in the industry are above and beyond, and the conditions above and beyond what's offered at TAFE at the moment.
So then what do you make of this promise?
Oh, look, I think it's fantastic. It's about time that we had emphasis put back on the public TAFE system, and that it was brought back to the forefront of education in the vet sector. One of the other big worries, of course, is we saw that with the vet fee help program, which was started by the Labor Party at the time, was that what it did was line the pockets of private providers, and we saw, I think it was $2.4 billion of taxpayers' money that was given out to private corporations who were set up specifically to fleece money out of students. So I think in the Australian newspaper today, the independent organisation that represent the private RTOs are already out there calling for their slice of the pie. So we need to be really careful that what happens going forward ensures that the students get well looked after, and obviously taxpayers' money is not wasted.
And Simon Bailey, do you think that there's an issue in relation to, this whole idea of, RTOs getting a cut of the pie and lining their pockets, as you've said?
Oh, I definitely. I mean, we saw organisations which had yearly profits of over $100 million purely from tapping into the vet fee health scheme at the time. So what we don't want to see is this being portrayed or happening again across the sector. But unfortunately, the worst outcome out of that is we had hundreds of thousands of students who were left with qualifications that weren't completed. And guess what? Guess who had to pick up the pieces? It was the public TAFE vet system that had to do that.
So are you saying that a lot of these RTOs are not actually providing quality training? I mean, is that the issue?
No, look, we've come a long way since those days, but unless the checks and balances are put into place, we'll revert back to what happened previously, and that's what we need to follow up. I'm off to Canberra next week as part of a delegation from the AEU TAFE division to meet with our national executive and with federal Labor members, and we'll be discussing these points there because we know what's happened in the past and we know what needs to be done, and like the announcement from the Federal Labor Party has stemmed from negotiations and talks with the National TAFE Council Executive and the National AEU Office. So we're in touch with what's happening, but at the moment, unless we make sure those checks and balances are put into place, obviously it'll be the students who will miss out in the long run, and we'll see taxpayers' money go out the door and it won't be accounted for.
Simon Bailey, we'll leave it there. But thank you so much for joining the conversation and sharing your perspective. Thanks for calling.
Thank you.
Simon Bailey there from the Australian Education Union.